welcome back to the Buff Bombshell Show. My name is Lauren Lotte. I'm your host, and I'm with Emma Hyndman, aka the Posing Pro.
Woo! I like to give myself a little round of applause there, or like a drum roll or something.
I'll give you a round of applause.
That special guest just spoke up in the background there. So that's our intro. We have the one and only Ashley Kaltwasser on the show today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's an honor. Thank you.
The honor is all ours.
Yeah.
We're so excited. How are you today? You well?
I'm well. I just finished up an intense leg workout.
Oh.
And, I got a nice little glute pump.
Oh,
Feeling
yeah.
good. Got my workout done for the day, so
Where-
crazy.
Where are you based?
Right now I live in Las Vegas.
And you're at the gym at
Is it
Adam's.
Team
Are you
Elite
at there?
Physique?
Yes.
Yes.
Contest Prep Center. Yep.
Yeah, we had Adam on the show a couple of months ago, and he'd literally not long been in Vegas, and he told us about the setup. So it looks pretty awesome there.
It is. I like it a lot because it's specifically tailored for competitors, and you can get your body scans, your body fat, your weight, your measurements, all that. So it's really nice.
We
I
are
love it.
dying to get in that body scanner machine.
Yeah, it's interesting. It really is interesting to track everything like that.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
And you've been tracking that with Adam since 2017, haven't you? Because I've been watching your YouTube show vlogs and all the videos from when you sort of came back on, and I could see your journey through it all with the thyroid and then with the getting back on stage. So it's been really interesting to see you change again and just see your journey. That's been really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is cool. I feel like I'm living in a movie or something. It's like, it's exciting to me. I love this and I love the life, and I'm just getting started. So
Yeah.
She's
fun.
back. She's back. Give us just a little bit of a quick infill of kind of competitive journey, just for anyone who has been living under a rock that doesn't know.
Okay.
But just give us a
Sure.
little bit of a lowdown, because I know you've got quite a bit of a backstory, which I think a lot of people would find super interesting.
Yeah. So to make it short, I've always been an athlete, super competitive. As a child, I was in gymnastics, and throughout high school and college, I was a track athlete. I ran the 400-meter hurdles on scholarship.
Wow.
So I was always super, competitive, always an athlete, always training for something. So after my college track career was finished, I felt very lost. I felt like, wow, my whole life I've been training to compete in a sport, whatever the sport may be. And now I just feel so, I don't know, not myself.
Yeah.
And at the time I was just like bartending, funny enough, because it's such a completely different lifestyle than competing, right? So I was like bartending, and I was just not happy. And then I found on Facebook that my former high school track coach, she competed in figure. And just from following her and keeping in touch with her after high school, I was like, man, that looks kind of cool. I want to see what this is about. So I went to her gym, and I noticed, oh my gosh, they have bikini too. Bikini. Now that's something I could try. So I tried it, and I fell in love with it, and I found success pretty early on. I didn't really have to do too much changes to my body necessarily, because I just basically came off a track career. So Physique was already almost there. I competed, I loved it, and ever since then I've just been living this life, living the dream.
So just tell us, Ashley, what year did you actually start competing, and how old were you then?
It was 2011. I don't know how old I was.
Wow.
Maybe 21, 20?
Okay.
20. I don't know.
Somewhere around that.
It was 2011.
Wowza. So that's a long competitive career. And obviously when you first started, the look was quite different, wasn't it? The bikini look. It's really evolved over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years. Is that how long you've been competing?
I guess so.
10
gosh,
years.
yeah.
10 years.
I did that's crazy to think about. Wow.
It's like your anniversary
that's
this
one third
year.
of my life.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Wow.
10 years. That's so super impressive. It's a really long time to be in the game, because it's like, it's a long time, 10 years.
And in the 10 years that you have been in the game, you've won your 3 Olympia titles and 25 pro wins. Is it? My gosh.
Massive congratulations on that, because something that we talk about quite a lot is like legacy and leaving your mark. And I think, you know, for you to be the only female bikini athlete to have done that is just sensational. Like, that's your legacy, and that will always be yours and what you have. So I think that's super cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. I never would have thought I would have ever made it this far. Like, it's crazy how things happened. Like, it started out as like, oh, let me try this, to like becoming what it is. It's crazy. I feel like Cinderella or something.
What was your what was your journey in regards to kind of where you started to where you are now? Was there any moments where you thought, you know what, I'm done with this, and you know, I've ticked the boxes? Because 10 years is a long time to keep the fire lit as well.
Yes. So definitely I did have a period of time where that happened. In 2017, I took off completely. I'm talking about like I ate whatever and I didn't even work out. And then even in 2016, I only did one show, which was the Olympia. And I could tell in 2016, I was just, the fire wasn't there. I think most of it had to do with like pressure, right? You know, I've won 3 Olympias. I kind of felt like, I don't know, I've done what I needed to do. And I just kind of wanted to relax a little bit. And then, as I mentioned, the pressure thing is a big thing that kind of happened to me. You know, it kind of like is mostly due to my own like way of thinking. It's like a me thing, but I just felt like since I did win 3 Olympias, anything less than first ever is a failure. And I never wanted to think that way, but that's kind of how it went in my mind. And it was just like I felt like any little error is all eyes on me. Any placing that isn't first is like a huge deal. Whereas like in the beginning when I competed, it was like, I'm happy just to be here. So I kind of lost a little bit of that fire due to like pressure. So in 2016, I didn't do my best at the Olympia. I wasn't as motivated. So then I was like, oh, maybe I should just take some time off. So in 2017, I took a complete year off, and I regret doing that because I got out of shape, and it was really hard to get back to where I needed to be in 2018. But I ended up doing it, and I'm like, I am never going to take that amount of time off ever again, because it was so difficult. And in the end, it did not make me happier or anything. And I just missed it. So
I think like mentally sometimes as well, like you say, the pressure, it's a lot. And I think people who maybe don't necessarily compete, or they're more like fans in regards to more, they follow the sport and the placings and the girls, I don't sometimes think they fully comprehend that, you know, you're not going to win every show, and, you know, it moves, the placings do move around. But I think people, they put you on that pedestal, and then they put that pressure on top of that as well. And I think all of the athletes within the game and people who really understand the sport, we know that can happen. You know, like firstly, absolutely insane to win 3 Olympias, but you know, you can't always stay up there. Like, and it's just how the game goes.
Yeah, I mean, like bikini has just evolved so much since when you first started. Like even with the body types, and then like just the overall look has changed. And then, you know, I think you will win again if that's what you really want, if that's what you really work towards. But, you know, it's that whole thing where the look changes and it evolves and it carries on going. And then you have to carry on working with what has changed. But, you know, another part of it for me is for you, when you step on stage, one of the things that you always talk about is like when you go to a show, you don't always necessarily expect to win, you know?
Yes.
And I think that's so important because it's a very humbled attitude to have, because you show it to your fans, you show it to the judges, but you're like, I'm here, I'm bringing my best, but it doesn't necessarily mean that placing is going to be number 1 on the day.
Right.
But what's my point?
And I think that's all you can do. Yeah. Like all you can do is bring your best on each and every occasion. And I think as long as you know that you brought your best, then whatever placing happens to come your way, then you've done the best job you can do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, you know, I can be very hard on myself if I make a stupid mistake on stage, or if I know I could have done something better or tried harder. That's when I'll get disappointed in myself. But a placing doesn't necessarily these days have anything to do with my happiness necessarily. I've been super happy at shows that I've gotten second in just because I'm like, whoa, I made some crazy improvements. My physique was on point, regardless if that's what the judges want or not. I loved this look. You know what I mean? And I think like I've had a few of those shows where I'm just like so proud of myself just for seeing the improvements. Like when I get my pictures, I get so excited. I'm like, oh my God, what? I did this. But it wasn't necessarily a win. I think like last year, for example, Tahoe Pro Show, I got second at that show, but in my eyes, I'm like, I made some good improvements. Yeah. I love the way I looked at this show. It wasn't what the judges wanted that day, but I loved it. So I was super happy about that one. And it's like, yeah, I've come to that place where it's just like, you know what? If I gave my best, and I know I did, that's the only thing I can do, because at the end of the day, you can only control one thing, and that's yourself. You can't control how it's judged. You can't control who shows up. You can't control how they show up. So enjoy the moment and just savor in the, hey, I gave it 100%. And, you know, regardless of what my placing is, as long as I know it's my best, I can't be mad.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. Over the course of obviously the past decade and the style and the criteria of bikini evolving, how have you tweaked your training? Food to really kind of continue to evolve, because obviously your physique's completely changed as well from beginning to now. What's changed for you in regards to your training, first of all?
So for training, you know, it's hard to pinpoint because it's always different for every prep. Like some preps I'm like, oh, I need to bring up my glutes. Some preps I'm like, oh, I need to bring up my upper body. But I will say, like, I think you know, as the talent pool gets deeper and deeper in bikini, it's like you just got to make sure you're super on point with everything symmetry. I feel like, for example, back in the day, like we're talking about like the 2013, 14, 15 era when I did win my Olympias, I could get away with having smaller shoulders, and they were a little bit smaller than my lower body. And I could get away with this because the talent pool wasn't as deep as it is today. So for me now, that's an ongoing struggle, is making sure my upper body matches my lower. Whereas before it wasn't such a big deal, but now it definitely is. So it's something that I'm always trying to work towards, is like really spend more time on the upper body, on the shoulders, so that it can kind of be more symmetrical with the lower half.
Wow. See, bikini girls do the opposite.
Yeah.
They're trying to make the lower get to match the upper. So you're very lucky there. Are
you lower dominant in your natural physique? Like, do you gain muscle on the lower half a lot easier?
Yeah, so in my lower body,
yeah,
and it's not even like I can necessarily gain muscle easy. I'm definitely not like an easy gainer, right. But I think my track background kind of already gave me a little head start with the legs. So I'm pretty dominant in my hamstrings and my glutes as well. Not so much quad though, which is good because I know in bikini they don't want bulky quads, but I can be very dominant in the hamstrings for sure. Yeah, I saw the photo that you did with Sealy Photo, and your like hamstring drop was insane. You were like, I was like, how did that even happen? Just like, oh my gosh, fantastic photo, by the way. So, yeah. Thank you. You go.
So, and then in regards to, obviously you've just done quite a few shows off the bounce. Oh, yeah. How do you manage that in regards to, you know, making sure that you don't start to lose your fullness and your roundness, and just making sure that you bring your best to each of those shows, because it's a lot to do off one after another. Yeah, that is true. So actually, funny enough, I had to kind of like slow myself down a little bit after the last show, the New York Pro. I saw my photos and I'm like, whoa, I got way too flat. And I ended up losing 1 inch of fullness off my glute. Wow. So I'm like, whoa, we need to like take a few weeks,
get in some more carbs,
Yeah.
get in some really heavy lifts. Because the thing is, when you're going show to show, I don't think people realize you're only working out about half the time that you do usually would, right? So I'm only working out like 3 days a week because let's say I'm traveling on Wednesday or Thursday. Friday, I'm not going to work out the day before the show. Saturday, no. Sunday, I'm traveling back. So sometimes, depending on where the show is, you know, if it's on the other side of the states, it's a whole day of traveling.
Yeah.
So I'm only able to work out like 3 days a week. And you can I was starting to tell like, whoa, I'm losing the fullness. I'm losing my pop. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a few weeks, hit the lifts really heavy, eat some carbs so that I'm the best I can be for the Denver Mile High Show, which is in it's June 5th. So that's coming up. So it's not like I'm starting from scratch, because I think a lot of people think like, once you lose your pop, it's like you're losing muscle forever. No, it's just kind of depleted. I look depleted. So it's got to happen at some point. But I think the key, or what I could have done better, is maybe instead of doing literally show to show to show, week to week to week, is even like a 2-week gap in between probably would have set me up better so that I can like kind of recover and get in my lifts and get my carbs in and then go into the next show. I think for the future, maybe not do 3 week to week shows, but maybe more like 2 weeks in between.
What made you decide to do 4 weeks, 4 shows back to back?
Because why not?
Yeah.
You know?
You love being on stage, right? It's quite clear to see, like, you love being on that stage.
Yeah. So like, for me, it's like, I don't know. It's just like, I felt good and I felt motivated. I didn't feel tired. Even though my body was starting to show I was getting a little bit tired, I didn't feel that way. So, I just kind of was feeling it. I was like, you know what? What do they say? You gotta cook while the pot is hot.
Strike
like,
while the iron's hot or something.
Yes, there you go. Strike while the iron's hot. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Why the heck not? It's not like I have kids that I have to tend to. I can have this freedom and have awesome sponsor that pays for it. So I'm like, let's do it. You know, I'm game. Like I'm an athlete. So it's like, let's do it.
Yeah. And I think that's quite a good note, because my next question is, obviously, because you've won the Olympia 3 times, you have an instant qualification, which is freaking awesome as well.
So cool.
But then how do you feel like, obviously, when you do a pro show, and sometimes it might be said that, well, Ashley has an instant qualification, so when she comes first, she's taken like the top spot from someone else maybe getting an instant qualification. Now, firstly, my take on that is that, you know, if Ashley wins, then it's fair and square, and you as another athlete should be coming in better to win. You're clearly not good enough to win. But what's your take on that? Because I know it's said sometimes within competitors.
I think anybody that thinks like that is extremely weak-minded, and that's unfortunate. That's something that they need to work on themselves. To use me as a scapegoat to why they can't qualify, for a few reasons. First and foremost, there's always the point system. You can qualify with your points. Yeah. You know, I'm not, you know, and another thing is I'm literally not doing every single show. So if you can't get qualified yourself, like that's unfortunate. That's too bad for you. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad at all. I want to keep going. In fact, if you're going to like make a big stink about it, probably going to do more shows. So, I mean,
I love that. Sorry. I love it.
Sorry. The more people I piss off, the better, I guess. But it's not like I'm trying to knock them out of their qualification status.
No.
I'm just in a professional sport. I think people forget to realize, hey, this is the pro leagues, man.
Yes.
In any sport, can you picture in any sport somebody complaining that another athlete showed up? Yeah. Can you picture that in track? This track athlete should not be competing at this track meet because they're already qualified for Olympics. Like that doesn't happen. No. So I feel like if anybody has a problem with it or are going to complain about it, you should probably just hand in your pro card like this. Be like, here's my pro card back. I'll downgrade to the NPC where things are easier and I can win.
Love it. Yeah, love it.
Hot take. Sorry.
Love that.
Like
amazing.
The pro bodybuilding guys in the 90s were always competing like show back to back, even if they were doing Olympia. So if you think that, you know, just because somebody's going to enter a show that you're not going to win, then you've already set yourself up for failure, thinking that you're not going to win.
Yeah.
And just because I enter a show doesn't mean I'm going to win. I lost twice this year.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you bring your best.
It's kind of like I feel like an excuse or a scapegoat, right?
Yes.
So
absolutely.
don't ever come into a show thinking you're going to lose, because I don't win all the time.
Yeah.
I know.
You got to go in thinking that you brought your best.
That's all you can do. But I wanted to cover that because I have the same opinion. So
yeah, I agree.
Awesome response.
And it's also about legacy. Like, this is
exactly.
your legacy.
This is your legacy. So damn, if you want to do every single show, go and do it.
Okay, so I have a question in terms of keeping that bubble and pop.
Oh yeah.
Because again, you've done like 3 back-to-back shows. Now you said that you're flat on the last one for New York Pro. But what is what is like your way of keeping your bubble and your pop there?
Definitely hitting the weights a lot harder, you know, and having the energy to do so. Because I feel like, you know, peak week, you're not getting the best workouts,
no.
you know, and you shouldn't anyway, my kind of technique going into peak week is not to get like too sore, because you don't want the inflammation, right? You kind of want your body to look rested and de-inflamed. So when you're doing a peak week, you don't want to play around with them too much, because if you spill, then that's going to cause adverse effects on your physique, right? So if I have more of a gap, I can kind of, you know, play around with the carbs a little more, have more, and if I spill over a little bit, that's okay, because I have time to fix it. But I mean, carbs have been doing very well for me so far, and getting my lifts in and focusing more on lifts rather than cardio as well. I'm kind of backing off the cardio for the time being and just really going hard with the weights.
What's your typical time scale for prep? How long do you spend in prep?
I mean, I would say like 12 weeks. I never want to let my physique go beyond like a 12-week prep in the off season, right? And even then, I kind of am generous and give myself more time. I don't fluctuate my weight too much. You probably won't see me get too soft in the off season. I probably stay relatively lean in comparison to other people. But if I'm doing like a maintain situation, obviously that's like, you know, just make sure that you're staying on track with everything. But I will say, for me, it's so much easier to maintain than to prep.
Yeah.
So it's like right now for me, I'm in that sweet spot where I'm like, okay, I can maintain, increase my calories a little bit, put in more carbs, rather than starting all over and kind of making my weight go up and down. And it's a little bit unpredictable that way too.
And I like that about it as well, when you say like you're sort of relatively lean, because here in the UK, we've got some stuff where some of the girls, especially in bikini category, they're like, to improve, you've got to pick up weight, you know? I'm not going to put a number on it because I don't think that is right to say, but but what is your sort of take on the bikini category then, in terms of wanting to make improvements and I guess staying sort of relatively lean? Because
well, I think it's a person by person basis, right? So if we're looking at somebody that doesn't have enough muscle for bikini, you know, I think that is the type of person that probably shouldn't do like a show to show, because they need to kind of take a little bit of time off from the stage to make those improvements, right? But if we have somebody that is already there muscle wise, and, you know, maybe needs to make a few improvements here and there, it's okay to kind of, you know, be leaner in the off season and be more prepared and ready to go. So I think it all depends on the person.
Okay, well, I guess that's kind of right, and sort of like it's very general, but I just don't like it when I'm just going to put it out there, but I don't want hate, so please don't hate on me, any bikini girls, but I just don't like it if I see someone necessarily picking up a lot to then have to bring it all the way back down. I think that's kind of, it's scary, it's unhealthy, it can cause issues maybe with your thyroid and then with other, you know, areas of your body, which sort of brings me on to this next point. But how did you find, obviously with that, taking that year off and then having the thyroid issue, how did you bring it, you know, back to where you are now? Because you look incredible, and it's not to say that you didn't look incredible before, but it was a different body look, you know?
Yeah. I definitely had to up my game, right, for these new physiques, because a lot of things have changed in the time I was off stage. I was like, even at the 2016 Olympia, I was like, whoa, they're getting good. So every year is like a new challenge. Every year I'm like, oh, what do I need to keep up with? What should I improve on? But, you know, after my year off, obviously having that time off, I was just, yeah, I just eating whatever, literally would have like Snicker bars for breakfast. Didn't work out. I did a little bit of aerobatic type things, like fun stuff, but I wouldn't consider that a workout. It's not like I was improving my physique or like burning that many calories or anything like that. So, you know, whenever the time came, I noticed like, oh my gosh, is it just me, or is it really hard to like get this weight off? You know, I remember going through my whole journey and I would get stuck at like 134 for the longest time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what the heck? What am I doing wrong? I'm getting so frustrated. So, you know, I ended up taking a metabolic test. I got my blood work done, everything like that. I had low thyroid. My iron was really, really low too, which surprised me because I didn't even think about that. And then also like my calories were at like, at the time, I want to say 1,500 or something like that, which is like my daily calorie expenditure without, I guess, working out. But I didn't find that out until actually the week after. But anyway, so I ended up seeing like the doctor, and we got the iron figured out. The diet had to change. I had to lower my calories in order to kind of accommodate just kind of like special dieting stuff, you know? So it's like crazy how your body works without you even like knowing about it, if that makes sense. Like I would have never thought I was low in iron or anemic. I never knew, but it definitely made a difference once I found it out, right? So I think it's important that we always like are monitoring everything, because you just never know. It's crazy.
Awesome. I have a question. As obviously you've spoken about how the bikini category has evolved. Where do you see your career going with the bikini category? Like, are you planning to just continue to compete for another 10 years, or have you got like, obviously you got the 25 and the 3 Olympias, like what's next on that checklist?
Well, I probably wouldn't compete another 10 years. I mean, I don't know, maybe I would. I always said if fitness would kind of like lower the muscle requirements, I would do fitness, because I can still flip, I can still do handstands, all that. It's just my body is very small in comparison. I'm just not genetically made to put on that much muscle. But I would say like I always say this, I'm just getting started. Like I'm not slowing down. I don't think I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna like coast now since I won 25. If anything, it motivates me even more, because I want more wins so that I'm untouchable. I do not want anybody to come close in a long time. So that's why I'm gonna knock out these shows and see like if I can get any more W's to add on to my list. That would be great.
Love it.
That's
love
motivation. Yeah.
Yes.
I love that motivation.
Love that so much. Amazing. So what's next for you then, show wise?
I'm going to do the Denver Mile High. And I'm really excited because that was my comeback show in 2018. So it's very near and dear to my heart. Yeah. You know, the Contest Prep Center used to be in Denver. So it's a familiar area. I did that show in 2018, 2019. I won both times. 2020, they didn't have it due to COVID. But I would have done it in 2020 if they did. So I feel like I have to come back and defend my title. And just, how can I not do that show? It's so special to me.
Definitely. And how, speaking of COVID, how did that year kind of work out for you? Were you able just to really focus on your training and, you know, the time that wasn't maybe spent in the gym with clients or whatever you would do on a daily basis? How's it works out for you?
It definitely changed a lot. And it's the reason why I'm in Vegas, right? So I was living in Los Angeles, but once COVID hit, I kind of realized how crappy the city's becoming. So I'm like, I got to get out of here. Yeah. So now I'm into Vegas, which I love so much more. And then Adam moved out here too from Denver. But it definitely kind of made me realize, like, hey, next year is not promised. Like, you better enjoy these shows. Like, you never know. You never know when something like that's going to happen again. And I will say, even like in 2020, I started off on a rough start because I had to get eye surgery and it put me under the Arnold. And it kind of felt like two stay at homes in a row, right? Because I had to stay at home for my eye. I couldn't be in the sun or anything like that. I couldn't work out. And then the COVID thing, same thing. You can't go out of your house. You're just kind of stuck there. But it definitely made me super grateful and super appreciative of like competing and just being able to compete.
So
absolutely.
Ashley had double vision problems.
And
I think I saw in your story recently, it's sort of coming back on the one
eye.
It's
coming back, unfortunately.
So,
hopefully I can catch it before it gets too bad or I have to get surgery, because I don't want to get surgery again.
No.
But maybe there's something they can do as far as like therapy for the eyes and stuff like that. So yeah, I didn't want that surgery. It was a tough one. It wasn't LASIK surgery. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I'll be good next week. It put me out like 3 months. So like, I don't want to do that again.
No.
Because can you imagine posing and having double vision on stage?
Yeah, that's not easy.
Like, that would be...
I've got like a blurry one eye at the moment and it's not easy.
Oh yeah, dang. Yeah, it does. It does affect your depth perception. Even like how far away people are from you, you don't know. Luckily, it's not bad right now to where that's going to affect it. But when it was bad in 2019, oh yeah, definitely.
Oh wow. And let's talk as well. Now you just brought that up, posing. How's your posing kind of evolved, and what do you do? Do you have like a process from show to show where you think, okay, let's just work on that. Let's tweak that. Okay. Oh, because we saw a new thing at the New York Pro, the hands on the hips. Love that.
Oh, thank you.
Love. So I'm probably going to steal that from you and give it to a few girls in the studio. I'll be like, this is the Ashley. Hands on the waist. So I love that because I've not really seen that before in the Bikini girls.
Yeah. So the posing, here's another thing that's really evolved. You know, it used to be kind of just like, posing wasn't as important as it is now. It used to be just kind of like, well, you know, you got a great physique. As long as you hit the poses, good. But it's a totally different game now. It's like everything in posing matters, like the transitions and every single thing is going to make the difference because the talent pool is so deep. And people are getting super elaborate with these individual presentations on the pro level. They'll be walking back, walking forward, walking back again,
I know.
walking forward, turn around, walk back, and walk forward. And I'm just like, whoa, that's like, I'm usually a pretty basic poser, I would say. And I'm not really shining as a basic poser anymore, right? So I really had to, add a little bit on every time. I think that this year, my posing started out so rough. Oh my God. It was so.
Can I just say, Ashley,
it was horrible.
Can I just say that I love that. There was one thing that I kept saying, I wish Ashley would just do this because it'll just make her front post so much better. You straightened the knee at the front. I loved it. Like it flows so much more on your figure. I really like that.
Yeah, that was one of my habits. It was hard to get rid of. But I started the year off kind of rough. I don't know what got into me. I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys, but I literally got on stage and just blanked. Like I had a new routine and I stepped on stage and it's almost like I forgot everything I've ever learned. And I'm like, wow, I guess this is what stage fright feels like. And I've never experienced it like that. But anyway, that was one, like, you know, going back to what I said earlier, I'm only mad at myself when I do something stupid. I was pissed at myself, not necessarily for the placing, but just because I'm like, how did I do that? How did that happen? Did I not practice enough? Was I not there mentally? What the heck? So
what do you think it was?
I was like on a mission.
What do you think it was? Why do you think that was happening? Or do you think it was maybe because did you feel pressure or do you think there was something going on mentally?
I think it was, first it was the first show of the year, so I'm probably a little more nervous than usual, but I tried to change too many things all at once. So after that, I learned my lesson. I'm like, I am not going to change too many things at once. Apparently I can't handle that. So I was like, another approach to go would just to be like little changes every time, like little things, right? You probably wouldn't notice it, but I do. So I think doing it that way for me personally, that's how it's helping me. But after that, I was on a mission. I'm like, I'm never going to let that happen again. So I practiced and I did the Wasatch show after that. And I wasn't initially planning on doing that show, but after my poor performance with my presentation at Clash, I'm like, no, I got to fix this. It was like an itch that I needed to scratch. I'm like, I'm not going to let that happen again. So like, you know, the next show, it got a little bit better. I added a something. And then the next show, it got a little bit better. I added something. And it's still a work in progress. By no means am I saying it's still like to where everyone else is because I'm just not that flamboyant of a poser. But yeah, and then that last show, I think it's been the best it has been this year so far, which was the little thing I added in was the hands on the hips.
Yeah, we really liked it, didn't we?
Yeah, we liked your posing this one. This was great.
Really, really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, because I was like, you know, I kind of got some feedback from the judges saying, you need to look more confident. You need to look more confident. I'm like, how do I look confident? And the first thing that came to mind was like, what's a confident pose? Like this is like super girl, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like the bikini version of the power pose. Yeah. I call it the power pose. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so I was like, if that's not confident, I don't know what it is. So I put that in my routine, and it ended up looking really nice on me. So I'm like, I'll keep that.
Yeah,
so,
you definitely need to keep
been kind of playing around with it, adding little things here and there, getting practice from different like posing coaches and stuff like that. So definitely a work in progress, and definitely something I can still improve on, but it's getting better. Nice. So I'm happy about that.
And
yeah, it looks awesome.
Do you always get feedback from the judges, even now as a pro? Like you said, they want more confidence, but do you get it from every show?
Yeah, I get feedback every time, even when I still get feedback, except for last show. Honestly, I didn't get feedback because it's almost like I already knew what it was. I was like, I think I could have been a lot more full. So for me, it was kind of obvious to see that. So I'm like, I don't need to. Yeah. But I usually do. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, I do like it that you do manage to get your feedback though
and I think that just shows as well, like you're not becoming complacent as an athlete because, you know, you're in those top placings and, you know, you've been a pro for so long, but it just goes to show like there's always something to be learned and there's always something to, you know, focus on and improve. And that's just the nature of the sport. And I just think you can't afford to think, I don't need feedback. Like I'm good. It's important to still be humble enough to go and ask for that.
Yes. You can't get too comfortable. And I guarantee everybody, even when they win first place, there is something they can improve on, even if it's something small, even if it's like a hairstyle or whatever, or just like one step in between your transition, anything. There's always room for improvement. So I'm always getting feedback, even from different judges, because it's nice to hear different perspectives. And some judge that might say this might have a different take on it, but then another judge gives me another piece of information that's useful. So yeah, I always do that.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And like you just said there, like even your presentation in regards to your hair, your makeup, because there's definitely a consistent look between the, you know, those top 6-5 placings. Like the girls all have a certain level of being polished. So I think that's really important as well if you want to be in those top rankings.
Absolutely.
I have one more question, and I'm fully aware that we are biting into your time.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm done.
Adam, your coach, Elite Physiques, talk to us. How is he as a coach? Because we've had him on the show, and obviously we know a few of the other girls that he preps as well. But how is he from your perspective as a coach?
Oh my gosh, he's like a coach and so much more. He is so fun. I call him pageant mom because he trains me, but then he's also like, oh, actually, let's fix this little piece of hair right. Oh, let me teach you a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Because I could just like picture him being on the side of the stage being like, yeah, like this. But yeah, honestly, he is the best. And I don't know where I would be without him. He makes this so fun for me. And yeah, he's become like not only my coach, my friend, my pageant mom, like everything. And he gets me motivated because what I find is sometimes it's hard to find a coach that's just as excited and motivated as you, right? So sometimes you'll have coaches and they're just like, you know, oh, you got a show this weekend. Oh, okay, well, good luck. No, he's excited. He's like, oh my God, I can't wait for this weekend. Let's kill it. You know what I mean? So he gets me hyped, keeps me on track, keeps me motivated. We think very similarly. So yeah, he's just, you know, a coach and so much more. So I'm so grateful.
Oh, I love that. Well, I think that's like a perfect way to round up our interview. So thank you so much for joining us. I love your energy.
Yes.
It's up there. It's awesome. And I said that about Adam as well, actually. So that kind of makes sense that you said you guys are very similar, because Adam's got a really good, nice, high energy, which we love.
Yeah. He's the best.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We cannot wait to just continue watching your journey and watching you to just continue evolving as an athlete.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And just keep adding to that
awesome.
legacy.
Yeah. And thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Like, thanks so much for coming on to MD and just sharing some more of your journey with us, because we can't wait to see what you do next.
Oh, I appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, thank you again.
Thank you so much. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This was an absolutely awesome episode. Make sure you like, share and subscribe. And if anybody wants to find you on socials, Ashley, just give us a little reminder of where they can find you.
Sure. I'm Ashley K Fit on Instagram, and then on YouTube, I'm Ashley Kaltwasser with a K.
Yeah.
Love it. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone. Oh, actually, let's redo that.
Thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Make sure to like, share and subscribe. Go follow Ashley's journey, and we will see you very soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.